To the max, baby. Hello, world. Welcome back to the Max podcast, where we have real talk about educational transformation. I am Dr. Maxwell, and I'm super excited for you to join us for the second episode in our Pathways of Prosperity series, which is all about pre-K-12 and beyond for our young men and women when they come into the walls of our schools. I'm super excited today to be joined by Mr. Daggett of Daggett and Schuler. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Maxwell, and glad to be here.
I'm super excited. This is going to be a different conversation.
I'm excited too.
Yeah.
You've tried to bait me at the beginning and set me up.
I did.
But I'm ready for you.
You ready?
I'm ready for you.
So the question of the moment is, this is our SEL Opener, guys. So the question of the moment is, which generation of music do you think is the best and why? The 60s, 70s, 80s, or the 90s?
You're trying to date me and age me with the very first question. I like the 60s. Mm-hmm. The 80s and 90s were good. Ooh. But I was a child of the 70s.
Okay.
I went to high school and started college in the 70s. Uh-huh. I'm a child of the 70s.
I like it.
Yes.
So who was your favorite artist?
My favorite artist, my favorite was Karen Carpenter.
Okay, what did she sing? I was born in the 70s, so
I didn't know you were so young.
Oh, don't I look young?
Yeah, you do look young. I just didn't know I was on the show with a baby. So Karen Carpenter.
Let me write her name down.
Had a lot of songs with her brother Richard Carpenter.
Richard Carpenter.
And I'm drawing a blank on the songs right now.
So can you sing it?
If you turn one, I can't sing. You don't. I was told, do not sing or dance in public.
How about you hum a note of or a verse of this song for us?
Well, we've only just begun.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
We've only just begun. Our romance is not over.
See,
is that the right song?
No, that's a different song. but I'm not singing it either.
I got to look her up. Karen Carpenter and her brother. I need to know them. So when you go work out and you ride your bike or you're doing your swimming or whatever you're doing, are you listening to 70s music?
I don't listen to music when I'm working out.
Really?
Yes.
So what motivates you to do that? Like you just want to work out because?
I love swimming, biking, and running.
Yeah, all three.
All
three.
I
Swimming,
love
biking, running.
being out in nature.
That's beautiful.
I love listening to the birds. I see people with earphones, and I'm like, can you not hear the birds and the squirrels and the animals in the woods and the deer that's running beside the road when I'm on my bicycle? So and there's also, I could get into the science of it, there's some performance characteristics of individuals who perform better by associating or disassociating. So if you're running with music, what you're doing is you're disassociating from your running. You're not paying attention to how does your body feel, how are you breathing,
that's important.
How does it feel. Some people do better to disassociate. Some people do better if they associate. I'm an associator.
I love it.
Which means I pay attention to my breathing. I pay attention to the way when I'm running, how my arms are moving, how my muscles are. There's a lot of self-talk involved.
I love it.
To make you feel stronger, better, faster, and enjoy being out. Moment.
That's absolutely beautiful. So the things
it's interesting. In Ironman racing, what I do.
Pause real quick. Ironman racing, what you do. How about you share with To the Max podcast what Ironman racing
is? An Ironman is a triathlon. Mm-hmm. Triathlon is a sport with swimming, biking, and running. Mm-hmm. Ironman is descriptive of the distance.
Yes.
It's a 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike ride, and a 26.2 mile marathon run all together. Mm-hmm. So the big impediment for a lot of people in Ironman racing is doing 5 and 6 hour bicycle rides because it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of
energy,
work, it takes a lot of energy, and staying focused, staying in the game, and keeping going for that period of time is very, very difficult. A lot of people try to disassociate by using music or using something else.
That. Okay.
I associate. And I call it, when I leave the door on my bicycle, I'm going out into the cathedral of nature. And I love every moment and every piece of it. And I wrap myself up in my surroundings, as well as I am also gauging every aspect of my body and my performance. And I actually enjoy 5 and 6 hour bike rides. They're not long to me. I enjoy them.
I don't think I would enjoy 5 or 6 minutes of a bike ride. So I think that's impressive.
So that's interesting. So I'm able to do that in a very enjoyable way. But a big part of that is I have consciously developed over time the ability to enjoy that cathedral of nature, having all my senses aware for the birds and the animals and the trees and the flowers. And
I think that's amazing. But that skill that you're talking about, and even the self-talk, the breathing, a lot of those things are things that we tell our children that they need to do in schools, and just as a parent, I tell them, self-talk, motivate yourself if nobody else will.
It's the same thing, is repeating positive
affirmations
over and over and over.
Yeah.
Aristotle has a quote that, and I'm going to screw up the quote, but it's basically, we become what we repeatedly do. So it is a habit. And once you turn those responses and those stimulus and that self-monitoring into an ongoing habit, it doesn't matter whether you're riding a bicycle or whether you're learning chemistry or literature or history.
Yeah.
It's automatic.
Yeah. So that reminds me, there's a quote in the Bible, the power of life and death lies in the tongue. And so I quote to myself constantly, I am the daughter in whom God is well pleased. And so even when things are not going the way I think they should go, it helps me to stay the course and continue to try, because I know it's not by my power and my might. And so I love the whole prospect, well, not prospect, but the way that you have talked about riding the bicycle and engaging in these very physical things that are very demanding of your body, but it's all part of your mind and how you set yourself up for success.
Sure, it's a metaphor for life.
Yeah.
And it's a metaphor for any sort of success, and how do you build for that success and move toward it.
Yeah. Because adversity comes, and regardless of what we're doing.
Absolutely.
It's just staying the course.
Yeah. Coach Bill Hayes is one of my good friends.
Oh, I love him.
And Coach Hayes, I was with him one time when he was giving a speech, and he was talking about all the young athletes. They want to find Easy Street.
Yeah.
And you know where Easy Street is? Easy Street is always 2 blocks over. You're never on Easy Street.
Yeah.
And not if you're going towards success.
I don't think it exists.
It doesn't exist. It's 2 blocks over.
Yeah, you got to keep trying to figure out how to find Easy Street instead of just doing the work.
Right.
Yeah. So that goes back to, they want to take the escalator.
You got to take the stairs.
You got to take the stairs because you've got to be able to go through the steps to talk about it.
No, you do. You need to take, and it's interesting because when I speak with students, I use that metaphor sometimes on taking the stairway. And what happens is if you're taking these steps towards success, what happens is, going back to the Aristotle quote, you turn that into a habit. Magically, you can turn the staircase into your own escalator.
That's right, because you climbed it.
But here's the other side, is if you don't take those steps, if you get in trouble in classroom, then your stairway to success becomes an escalator going the wrong way.
Or it becomes steeper.
You're fighting something that you're never going to get up because the escalator, you're trying to go up on the down escalator.
And that's not going to work.
It's going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
I love that. So you talked about students, and we are in the heart of prom season.
I love students.
And something that is near and dear to your heart, you started 35 years ago.
Yes.
Safe and Sober Prom.
Yes.
Tell me where that started and what made you, a lawyer, fall in love with making sure our children make it home safely to and from the prom.
So the story's long.
Well, give us an abbreviated version.
You don't want the 45-minute version?
No.
You know, it actually all started in the mid-'80s when I was a volunteer teacher at Carver High School.
Oh,
yes,
I love that.
Yes, so Junior Achievement had a program called Project Economics.
Okay.
I was an economics major in college, and I felt that that was a way to give back. So I came in on Friday and taught Project Economics at Carver High School. Being at Carver High School, quite frankly, gave me a little bit of insight into part of society that I hadn't been fully immersed in.
Yeah.
Well, I'd been exposed, but I'd never been immersed.
Yeah, that's a different word.
And once you get immersed in it, there's two parts of that immersion. Number one, you fall in love and you love it. You, at the same time, also understand that there's some unique challenges.
Yes.
So this gets back to Safe Sober Prom Night. So I'm a young professional in town, and one of the and I'm idealistic, and one of the things that was very disturbing to me is I didn't see people in the business community getting out and actually doing something.
Right.
We see corporate, and I'm not trying to knock anybody.
Yeah, I get it.
But what I saw was companies who might write a check, and companies that may send some money for sponsorship to put their name on something.
Right.
Which is fine. That's great.
Because we do need your money.
We do.
We do need your money.
That is
and we
supportive.
want it.
But what I did not see was the professional or business community taking themselves and going out and having a personal impact on young people across our community.
That's still missing.
And it was missing then.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I want to do something that combines that in a positive message to students. So it was Safe Sober Prom Night. I initially ordered 1,500 T-shirts, was going to go out to schools and give out T-shirts, have students sign a pledge card, and I thought we'd be off and running. The school system said no. Back at that time,
I'm not shocked.
They basically said, we don't have a drug and alcohol program in our problem in our schools.
Oh, they were in denial.
And
they were in denial.
We're not sure we trust a young lawyer who wants to go to our schools.
Oh, wow.
So at that time, I had a good friend who was assistant manager at Haynes Mall. I said, I've got a problem. I've got 1,500 T-shirts. Can I set up a booth at Haynes Mall?
That's wonderful.
And sign up students on Fridays and Saturday nights? Did that, gave out 1,500 T-shirts, got some positive feedback from the students and families. Next year ordered 3,000 T-shirts, did the same thing.
Wow.
We didn't make it to the second weekend because we ran out of T-shirts because students had heard about it.
That's phenomenal.
And gotten the shirts. We go to the third year, the school system says, hey, why don't you come to our schools? And so we have had a great relationship.
So you had to show the impact of what it was that you were doing and that it was a positive thing for the school system to jump.
And had to show personal credibility, which we all have to do.
We do.
You have to demonstrate your personal credibility before
I let you free with my children.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
I mean, you want to know that I was real before you just invite me into the school.
Yeah, not safe.
Right. So, like, when I was here for
a few weeks back
to give out the T-shirts, you took me down to a classroom
we did.
And had me speak real quick. Well, you did that because you trusted me.
That's
You trusted I could be with your students and I would give them a positive message, and quite frankly, I love them. So
it was evident.
It's an easy
you walked into the classroom. It was a civic literacy classroom. You immediately engaged with the students and had conversations. It's evident that you truly have a heart for a positive impact of students. But Safe and Sober, do you think it's had a true impact 35 years later? And do you have any stats to share around that?
It's always interesting. The critics always say, you can do the math. We've reached more than 600,000 students over 35 years, given out tens and tens and tens of thousands of T-shirts.
Can you pause right there?
Sure.
Even with you I think we're skipping a big piece. So the Safe and Sober T-shirts now are designed. It is a competition.
It's a competition
done by students.
They're student designed.
Right.
Yeah, they've been student designed for the past more than 30 years.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So there's buy-in too.
That's a big piece of the program. But getting back to your question, which was...
what was the impact?
The impact.
Yeah.
So the critics will say, how do you know this is doing any good? You're spending all this time, you're spending all this money.
Yeah.
Show us that you're doing something good. Well, the thing that you can't do is you can't prove what didn't happen. Okay, so you can't do that. And people that ask that question don't understand. They simply don't understand. Fast forward, we did have a time, we did a school program, and we did it in a high school. We were, don't drink and drive. We also, it was, wear your seat belt.
Yep, I remember that.
And we did the whole program. And after that program, 2 kids leave. They get in the car to leave the high school. They're riding down the road, and before they get in the car, the passenger says, "Hey, that speaker talked about seatbelts. I think I'm going to put my seatbelt on."
It's important.
By their own report, they'd never ever used seatbelts before.
Oh wow.
The driver said, "Well, if you're putting yours on,
I'm gonna put mine on.
I'm gonna put mine on too." They get going down the road. They're listening to music. The driver leans over. This dates it maybe a little bit, to change the CD in the CD player. They run off the road, hit a cedar tree. Oof. The cedar tree puts the engine of that car into the front seat. I spoke with the highway patrol afterward. They said there would have been 2 fatalities if they were not wearing their seatbelts. The only injuries they had was the passenger had a burn across his right shoulder, the driver had a burn across the left shoulder, and what that was from was the seatbelts. But it saved them, and those 2 young men, we actually did a little video that we produced with them, and this was a number of years ago, so it wasn't as sophisticated as your setup, but it was them saying how this saved their life. So I can prove 2.
Well, I think that you can prove it.
But then I've got others, including students from Carver High School, who will see me 20 years later.
Yes.
And they'll say, "Mr. Daggett, I remember when you came to our school, and you know what? That made a difference." And when I speak to adults, one of the things that I always say is the Safe Sober program is a whole lot more than don't drink and drive.
Right.
It's leadership, guidance, direction for young people. And the one thing that I think about our young people is our young people today, they are as bright, they are as motivated, they're as energetic, they want to succeed, but many of them do not have a structure of leadership, guidance, and direction in their life.
That's right.
And there's several common denominators that come into the success of a young person going forward. One of those common denominators is having one person outside of your own family who takes a personal interest and believes in that young person.
Mentorship.
Grabbing that young person in your hallway around the neck and give him a noogie and say, "How you doing in school?" And next time I come back, they'll run up to me and report to me that they improved their grades.
Because you care.
And lots of times I go into school and say, "Point out your roughest one."
Yeah.
Because they all want the same thing.
They do. But let me, I'm going to go to Safe and Sober, but I'm going to go down that direction too, because I think there's a difference in you because of your experience with law, that you're more comfortable in certain spaces that all people may not be comfortable in. So I want to applaud you. I graduated from high school in 1994 from Snow Hill, North Carolina, Green Central High School. But I recall even hearing about Safe and Sober then. And so I think that the positive is to say that we're not losing kids on prom night. right? So I think that's data. As a principal, as a parent, as a person who attended proms and have siblings and friends, we went to prom and we made it home safely. We put our seatbelts on. You don't drink and you don't drive. I think that is a point of data that you can say, how many kids made it home safely?
Right.
There's my data.
Right.
These are the schools that I've been in to support. And this is why this message is so important. And you did not stop. You continued. You seem more excited about Safe and Sober now than I can probably imagine you were when you started.
We had fun here at your school 2
Yes,
weeks ago.
we had a ball here. It's amazing. And something as simple as, and we in 35 years had the first student to ever win the design of a Safe and Sober t-shirt. So that is amazing. Kudos. We're so proud of him. He's an amazing young man. So thank you for all the work that you do to keep our kids safe and that they have an enjoyable prom and to know that you don't have to be drunk to do so.
Yeah, but it's more and bigger than that.
It is.
It is. Our young people need people in suits and ties, people
to show up,
people in uniforms, people from all walks of life, nurses, teachers, people in the community, to come together so that this younger generation knows that we care.
We care.
So when I first started the Safe Sober program, in my background, I don't know if you call it sheltered or a different day and time or whatever, but I was shocked to learn the number of students that come from one-parent households.
Oh, I am a single-parent household, first-generation college student.
And then you fast forward,
yeah.
And the public would be astonished at the number of students that come from a no-parent household.
Yes, raised by a family member.
Well, every administrator I talk to does exactly like you.
Yes.
They start nodding their head right away.
Yeah.
The public doesn't know that.
Right.
In what happens then is the general public, and I'm not indicting anybody,
right,
but the general public points the finger at the young person.
And the school.
And the school. But don't point the finger at the young person. Point the finger at us.
Right.
We're the one that developed a society
yes.
that made that the statistical norm
That's right.
that we have in our schools.
That's right.
So let's not point the finger. Let's do something about it.
That's right. And you're active. So I think that's the difference in you and other people, right? You see an area that could use some support, and instead of you throwing money at it or throwing lip service at it, you invest your time and your money because it's important to you, because you realize that children only do what they know to do, and they have to be nurtured and supported by someone who truly cares about them and is invested. And if I have not seen anybody who looks different from me, who has different experiences and exposures from me, to say, I believe in you and you can, come on over here and let me show you a different way, then why would I just do that? But it's so easy for people who have arrived or think they've arrived, or people who, like you said, have never been immersed in some societies and situations systemically that they didn't know existed, to even take a moment to learn about it. But I think that's empathy. I have to care enough to want to know, to be a part of the change.
Yes, yeah, and students can pick it up that fast.
Instantly.
In case you didn't know, I'm still a mid-20s idealist out there fighting for those ideals.
Yeah.
And it's always been that way. But I'll tell you a story. We're at Carver High School.
We are.
Which is 90% plus African American.
Yes. Well, black and brown.
Black and brown.
Latina and Hispanic.
Back when President Obama was president, I went into a school in Guilford County with a very similar demographic to Carver High School.
I worked there for a long time.
And I got asked by multiple students if I was Obama. And the reason is they hadn't seen somebody come in a suit before. These students had not seen somebody.
Been exposed.
And if you're not exposed to that,
you don't know.
You don't know, you can't aspire.
That's right.
And having, if you've never seen, I think our Winston-Salem Police Department, Sheriff's Department does an excellent job of getting out into the community.
And the school.
So that a uniform is not something to fear.
It's not intimidating.
That's somebody who helps you and gives you some leadership and direction. People in suits, if they get out there and show that and give leadership and direction, and you tell them, you talk to somebody who's fighting through, English class. I had to fight through English classes.
I had to fight through chemistry.
They put me in the, in the slow reading group. And I ended up making it through law school.
That's impressive.
Now, come on. What we want to do is be better tomorrow
than we were today.
Regardless of where we are. There's an old general that always said, the battle starts where we are.
That's right.
You can't worry about what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
The battle starts where we are. Let's start where we are
and move from there
and move forward.
And I always say to students, it's not where you're from that predicts who you become.
Right.
You predict who you become.
Absolutely.
And so it's all the things that you talk about. It's that hard work, dedication, and having people to believe in you and to push you to something different.
Yes.
It makes a difference.
Yes.
So, but for your daytime job, you're a lawyer.
Yes.
And so with schools and the work that we do, and we just went through raise the age of 16 being lowered from 18 to 16. So the ask is around children in a system who get to be repeat offenders, and then they get to be 16, previously 18, and then we throw the book at them. What is the impact that has on the success of someone's trajectory? Because a misdemeanor has different outcomes than a felony, right?
It does. I mean, that is another fairly short question with a very, very long answer.
Yeah.
My first answer is we need to work to inform these students when they're younger that we need to avoid this situation. The best way to clear your record on trouble is not to get in trouble in the first place.
That's good.
So one of the things we're doing is through the YMCA system is we've moved the Safe Sober program to middle school and older elementary school for programs in the summertime. And the reason for doing that is just exactly because of the issues you brought up, that we need to head off some of these issues.
Right.
That, you go to the YMCA summer programs and, depending on where you go and which YMCA, you may have very, very minimal parent involvement with these young people. And, what everybody wants to do is criticize and point fingers at the problem. Well,
what's the solution?
That doesn't do any good.
Right. We need solutions.
Let's move forward.
Right.
Now, let's educate these sixth graders so that they don't grow up and repeat the same thing.
Right.
Because it's going to repeat if we don't intervene and do something.
Yeah.
And I hear all sorts of criticism for the schools. The schools aren't doing such and such today. They're not doing such and such. Well, you know what? The school's not responsible for all of that.
We can't do everything.
The community and the framework around our children must do something to put that structure in place so that the schools can then work with and build from that.
Yeah. Because in the school, oftentimes we're having to be the social worker, the nurse, the counselor, still teach standards K through 12, intervene to provide resources as they need it. And we don't mind doing all of those things for children because we love them. But think about how impactful what we did in a school would be if we also had the community who were extensions of what we did in the school and working with the families instead of saying, well, the families aren't coming. Well, the families have so many societal issues sometimes that they're sending them to us and hoping we keep them safe for 8 hours a day.
Sure.
And so the understanding and the respect that we give people often, they just bash educators like we just let kids run a free-for-all.
Right.
And so because a lot of the people who are making these judgments and having these very critical things to say may haven't been in a school since they stepped foot out of one when they were in 12th grade. Right. And so they really don't see the nurture, the love, the care, and the support that happens every day and how children come so disenfranchised very often.
I guess the ornery side of me as I'm aging is when
You're aging gracefully.
When I hear people talking like that, When's the last time you've been in the school helping?
I like you.
When's the last time you've been in there helping?
That's right.
Well, maybe you should try that. Maybe it'll make a difference. Maybe it'll warm your heart.
Right.
Maybe it'll open your eyes because, again, I think students are great.
They're amazing.
They are amazing, but they need a different support structure
And it's missing.
than I had growing up.
And then I had.
And, politicians point fingers and they blame each other. And but what they don't do is they don't do anything.
They just talk about it. They have all this rhetoric about the problem. What's your solutions? Give us three. Let's do something.
Yeah. Well, I like to think in three. Let's just do three things.
Yeah.
You don't have to make it real complicated.
Yeah, let's just do three.
Let's do three things.
That's my thing. And I think when kids see that and they believe that, then they will understand that someone cares. But I think right now we're in a world that's so disenfranchised and everybody's being so mean and so many parties are pulling against each other. But we're not uniting for a cause, and we're saying children need to be positive people, need to communicate well, need to love others. But as adults, that's not what we're demonstrating.
One of the things that we need to demonstrate for our young people is character. And unfortunately, our politicians, I mean, everything trickles down.
It does.
And I call it trickle-down acrimony. And the trickle-down acrimony is people at the top of the political ladder can, fight with words and, insults and that sort of thing. But the lower you come down, the people don't know how to fight with words. They're going to fight with fists.
Because that's what they know.
Or they'll fight with guns. And
that's what they know.
This isn't new. A lot of friends of mine have complained about the current political makeup. But I remember back, this is 15, 16 years ago, I was speaking at a high school that, John Boehner was the Senate Majority Leader, and Harry Reid was the Speaker of the House. And you know why they had them on split screen on TV? Because you couldn't put them in the same room, and they talked over each other so much.
So they had to find a solution.
They had to find a solution.
I like that.
And that's the example our kids are seeing.
Yeah.
And you wonder why our kids act up.
That's why.
And aren't polite.
Yeah.
When the Speaker of the House and the Majority Leader of the Senate,
Can't
the only thing they
communicate.
can do is yell at each other and throw insults. And that's what we're teaching. Now, the beautiful thing that we have, and I'll say most of the time in Winston-Salem, particularly right now, is our mayor does not act that way.
Oh, no.
Our mayor does not act that way. He sets a good example. He can be firm. He can be tough.
But that's what leaders do.
But he's kind and he's polite.
Yes.
Our police chief, he went to Carver
He's
High
a
School.
Carver graduate.
Who I met during
Chief Penn.
I met Chief Penn when he was a student in Carver High School and I was here speaking. But Chief Penn is as tough as they get.
Yeah.
But he is a polite person.
Right.
He sets a good example. He cares about the community. As you know, Sheriff Kimbrough's been a longtime friend of mine. He does the same thing. Superintendent McManus does the same thing. The chair of our county commissioners, Don Martin, he handles himself professionally in all circumstances. And so because of that, even with the difficulties we have in society, in Winston-Salem, we haven't seen some of the things other cities have
I
had.
agree.
And that's because of our local leadership.
But I think the difference is we're talking about children who are on TikTok, Instagram, whatever the other social media platforms are that they're on, and they're seeing all this anger being thrown at people about whatever. So even though the modeling is happening locally for them, they're so inundated with the negativity. And so we oftentimes spend time with our children teaching them how to communicate effectively and how to have that emotional intelligence, that when you feel yourself getting escalated, you don't have to respond that way.
Well,
because there's consequences.
That escalation that you're talking about is part of the trickle-down
That is
acrimony
definitely
that I mentioned. That we have acrimony at the top of our system in the United States. That acrimony plays out in social media everywhere, whatever you do. What that then does for our young people is it normalizes that behavior.
Right.
Normalizes acrimonious behavior. Yes. Acrimonious behavior should not be normalized.
It is not normal.
It doesn't matter if you and me agree or disagree on an issue.
We should do it respectfully.
We should do it respectfully, and we should move forward for the common good. We have a rule in our law firm, is if there's a disagreement, you can disagree with me, that's fine. Come in the door, we're going to shut it, and the door's not open and we're not leaving.
Until we come to a resolve.
And Griff Schuler and I laugh sometimes. We were there till really late at night one time.
How late have you guys been there trying to come to a resolve?
It was late. But we were heated one time.
Only one time?
But we were really heated. But we did not leave that room until we could walk out metaphorically hand in hand and on the same page.
But I think that's a part of leadership, though. I tell my administrative team, we don't always have to agree, and we're supposed to have different viewpoints on things, but we have to come to a conclusion that is in the best interest of students and the schools that we serve.
When you come out of the principal's office, they got to know you're on the same team.
We're one.
When you come out of the locker room,
we're one.
You got to be on the same team.
That's right.
You have to be. And
teaming is something that I think is lost, and people are so individualized. They focus on their own individual success that they don't think about the collective good of the we. And so even in a school, if your class does well and mine does not, then the school does not perform well. So we all need to invest in the success of each and every student in each and every classroom so that our school succeeds. And so when you have a case at your law firm, I'm sure you don't say, well, I don't care if you lose a case and I don't care if you win. We want to win every case because we are winners. So we're going to win every day, come tooth and nail. We're going to do our research. That's what we want to do, win.
Are we inserting a commercial real quick?
Oh.
Yeah, that's what we do.
We want to win.
But you got to develop that mentality to win.
Period.
That the team has to come together to win. You have to develop that mentality that we are building up, not putting down.
Building up and
Always
not putting
building
down.
Up. It's very simple. Are we going to move forward or backward?
And we always want to go forward.
We always want to go forward.
I mean, I like the 90s and all, but I'm really happy that I'm moving on up in life, building. Okay, you know that I'm not the same age that I was because I don't want to repeat the same mistakes.
No.
And so we learn from the mistakes that we made, but they're supposed to make us better.
Absolutely.
And we can't live in the past. We've got to come together for a positive solution so that we have positive success of all invested.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a little bit of a circle of that right now. Is we like to see things the way they used to be,
and
no
more.
And one of my favorite quotes, and this was from a basketball coach, is nothing is ever the same as it used to seem to be.
Yeah.
And forget the past. We're in a different world. We have to adapt. We need to change. And we need to move forward from where we are.
But I think with someone who's seasoned, right? You're a seasoned, educated man, right? You said we must adapt.
Yes.
And we must move forward because we will never go back. So I'm going
to tell my kids I'm seasoned.
You're seasoned, okay? Seasoned with grace. So I remember, like, we were talking about landlines, like, and so you could pick up the phone and your parents hear you on the other line talking, where then we went to bag phones, right? And then I even remember the busy signal. Our kids are so used to instant gratification. They can get the world at their fingertips in an instant. So how do we want them to be the same children? We're preparing them for jobs that aren't even here yet. And so I think that's so insightful for you. And I think you are a voice that needs to be heard because you are an amazing support. And the day you were with my kids, you were like, I gotta go. I could stay here with y'all longer. I mean, you had them so engaged in 10 to 15 minutes. You just cut it on and you were sharing information with them and they were asking you questions. But then you were like, hold on, guys, let's take a selfie. That relatability really made a difference. And so when they see you anywhere, because they said, you're the man we see on TV, but you came to spend a moment of time with them, they'll carry that with them forever. But just because you do that, we've got to get the rest of the world to see that.
I'm going to carry those kids with me forever also. And that's what the outside world needs to see. Yeah, this, I don't know if you know this, but I was, when I was in law school, my first year of law school, a friend of mine and I started a Big Brothers, Little Brothers program through the law school that we worked with local Big Brothers, Little Brothers and developed matches. And my match was 10 years old at the time and lived down the street, right across the street from Carver High School. And we're still together.
I love that.
Yeah, we are the longest running consistent Big Brothers, Little Brothers match in the United States.
That high five, dude.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
So we're at 44 years.
So how does he say your impact has been on his life?
Well, no, this is the impact is on my life.
But
he ended up coming to Carver High School.
Okay.
And I'll let him speak for himself. He speaks very, very positively of the experience and the importance of having a male role model around during that period of time.
It's important for our young men.
But you make me cry. I cry. I'm softy. I cry easy.
It's okay.
But
I do too.
But the thing with the Big Brothers Little Brothers program that most people don't realize is it changes both lives forever. So it changed my life just as much because I saw things I didn't see before. Yeah. I learned things that I didn't know before.
Because we can learn from kids, believe it or not.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they just are the most amazing people. They show me how to work my cell phone every day.
Yeah. but you learn a whole lot more than that.
They're awesome people.
You know, what some of our kids are doing with absolutely nothing.
What they go through.
What they go through, no support at home, the battle. I mean, I don't think the public, if you're not out there interacting with the kids, you don't know, I just call them students, not kids, but you don't even know the battle some of them go through, you know, to eat on the weekends.
They have, once they leave school at 3:40 every day. But the difference with you is, as you said, that immersion. I didn't grow up this way, but having the opportunity to be immersed in these experiences through these relationships has taught me so much. But so many people don't want to leave the comfort of their experience to immerse, to even have the empathy to understand.
Now remember, one of the things that opened my eyes to is these exact same issues exist on the other side of town also.
Mm-hmm. They exist everywhere.
Yeah, they come about in a different manner.
And they're maybe more prevalent in some places than others.
And it was interesting, when we had our first child, our pediatrician, Dr. Bennett, who, you know, he was wonderful. He called me in after the first baby appointment, and he said, I just want to tell you something. In my experience, lawyers and doctors are the worst fathers because they don't pay enough attention to the children.
Because they're working.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it hits you right in the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I ask my kids now, did I spend enough time with you?
Oh.
You know, because you look back, I tried.
We do. But you know, can I tell you a secret about that as a parent? Some things we got to let go, because regardless of how great of lives our kids have, they're going to still believe that they've experienced trauma. And I love mine. Right. I mean, I think that they've had a good experience, but there's some forms of trauma that they're going to say they've experienced.
Sure.
So I think I want you to know something. You have such a genuine heart, and you are so humble, and I think that is amazing. And even when I text or call you, you say, what do you need? What do you want? How can I help? Those are one of your questions all the time. And you don't find many people who just want to make a difference. And I'm so appreciative to you and what you do for this community. And you're not afraid to say what it is you believe is right for all children.
Right.
You walk in the halls of this and you hug from the roughest student to the sweetest student. You ask them questions, and everybody's not comfortable in that space. And that says a lot about who you are.
Well, I'm fortunate that I do have the personality that's comfortable doing that, and I enjoy it. I also, I get back a lot from doing it also.
Yeah. So, is there anything you want to share with us as we get to wrap up the 2theMax podcast that we did not have the chance to talk about or discuss?
No. Does everybody know that she kind of caught me off guard on this? She did not give me any prep. She didn't tell me what we were going to talk about in advance.
And you know this is my first time ever doing that because I'm so scripted, which is why today I just have a clipboard and a pencil.
I said I am good. Just bring it. I have a presentation that I give to high school students sometime, and I use my Ironman racing as a little bit of a metaphor, and I call it choose success, and I explain to them that success is a choice, and here's what we need to do in order to choose success, and the first thing is to dream big. Now, to dream big takes a plan. You have to have your goal. You have to have strategies that support that goal. You have to execute on those strategies, and you have to have a support system that's with you. That's part of dreaming big. But that execution part is you really have to do it. If you want to run a marathon,
you got to practice.
You can't leave the running shoes in the closet. You have to get them out every day. It doesn't matter if it's cold, doesn't matter if it's raining, doesn't matter if it's windy, it doesn't matter if it's hot.
You still got to go outside and run?
We still got to go every day. That's how you dream big.
That's right.
That's how you dream big. Second is no excuses. The world is filled with excuses, and you can look at it. Every loser's got an excuse.
Don't they?
The ref didn't like me.
Yeah.
That teacher wasn't good to me.
They just don't like me.
She doesn't know how to teach math.
It's always someone else's fault.
It's an excuse. Get rid of excuse. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares about you.
Past the mailbox of your parents' house. No one cares. So let the excuses go.
Let it go.
Work hard.
Let it go. And then the third is never give up.
That's a good one.
Things are going to be tough.
They are.
But just like out on the run course, if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, you've got your goal in place, you're doing what's right, you're executing on that, and you're going the right direction, you're going to get there.
You're going to get somewhere.
It may take you longer,
but you'll get there.
But you'll get there.
I read somewhere a quote or something, just get 1% better every day.
Right.
Maybe that was Deion Sanders. But if we work hard to get 1% better every day, over time, that 1% every day really is a massive impact.
The 1% better every day actually got trademarked by a Down syndrome young man, Chris Nickick.
Oh, I watched him.
Yeah,
He's amazing.
Chris Nickick, and I've known Chris Nickick over the years.
He's local, right?
No, he's from Florida.
Florida, okay.
Florida, and he
was an
Chris. He's finished an Ironman now.
Yeah, Ironman.
And that's his T-shirts, everything.
1%. That's
1%
right.
better
Thank
every day.
you for that correction. I'm sorry, Deion.
1%. Well, Deion may have used it also.
Okay.
But I believe Chris Nickick and his family
think so.
have that trademark.
It was amazing.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I want to say you've been an amazing
2theMax.
guest. Oh, and you got to do this. You got to do the twos. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining me on 2theMax podcast. Please watch, like, subscribe, and make sure you share with a friend and another friend and another friend, because we have amazing guests who has awesome things to share. And believe it or not, 2theMax podcast is not just real talk where you're learning things, but I'm learning things too. Go ahead.
We're only halfway done, right?
No, we're done.
Or are we going to do another? We're going to do another one?
Maybe another one later. He's having so much fun. He doesn't want to go, guys.
Oh, you're great. You're the best.
Oh, thank you. But since I'm great, and you're great. Go out and be great, because you already are. I hope to see you soon. Mwah.